There's going to be a point in life when you got to make a really tough decision. And you're going to have to decide between two things. Do I choose the right thing or the easy thing? What do you do? What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite MC's favorite MC, Pinnacle the Hustler on the MIC. And this edition of the Hustle Report is How to Hustle. Today I want to talk to you about something that's probably plaguing a lot of the people watching this video. Do I make the right decision or do I make the easy decision? Now, if it's a matter of right and wrong, that's a bit different. We all know that there's situations that are right and wrong, but we're talking about situations that are right and easy. Like, let's say, for example, I get in an argument with an old woman. Obviously, if I punch her in the face, that is the wrong decision across the board. You can't punch an old woman in the face. That's wrong. But what if you're in a situation where, let's say, you're friends with two people that are in a relationship and you're friends with both of them equally, and you find out that the girl cheats on the guy and she's begging you, please don't tell him. Don't tell him that I cheated on him. What do? Do you tell the guy, yo, I found out your girlfriend cheated on you, and you know he's going to be devastated, heartbroken, and then you're going to feel pain because you got to go through that with him. You got to, watch him go through that pain and try to help him out. That's going to hurt you as well. But if you don't tell him, then you're allowing him to live in this happy, ignorant bliss of thinking that his girlfriend is faithful to him. What do? Do you make the easy decision or the right decision? Let's say you got $100 left for the rest of the month, right? And there's these shoes that you've been wanting for like 3 months, and them joints go on sale for $80. And you like, yo, these are on sale. I can get the shoes today. And I got the money to get it, but I also got a bill that's gonna cost $50. What do? We all know what the right decision is, but we know buying those shoes are gonna make me happy. And let's say I haven't bought shoes in about a year, and these are the only pair of shoes that I want, and all of a sudden they on sale. What do? Do you get the shoes and choose happiness, or do you pay that bill and choose responsibility? There's a right decision and there's an easy decision. What do you choose? What if you have a long-term relationship with your partner, or let's say you got a lifelong friend, right? But this person we know they're not good for you, right? They're the type of person that's like, don't worry about going to work today, just stay and chill with me. Or let's say your friend is like, look, bro, don't worry about hanging out with your girlfriend and taking her on dates. Let's just come to the club with me and let's get some girls. We know that the partner or your lifelong friend, they're not for your self-development. They're not going to help you become better as a person. If anything, they're going to help you make decisions to lower your standard or quality of life. But you got years and history invested into this person. What do? Do you cut off this person that you got years with, that you have this lifelong investment with, or this long-term investment with? Or do you keep them in your life because you know that it's like you're just throwing down all this history down the drain? Do you choose self-embetterment and cut that person off? Or do you choose that friend or that girlfriend or that boyfriend over you becoming a better person? We know what the right decision is, but it's not easy. So there's going to come times in life when situations like this are going to come up. And it might not be a situation that's just going to affect you for a month or a few months. It might be situations, it might be decisions that you got to make that's going to change the course of your life, that might affect you for the next few years, or might affect the people around you for the next few years, or for the rest of their lives. What do? Do you choose the right decision even if it hurts you, or if it hurts somebody that's close to you? Or do you choose the easy decision and spare people and, allow them to continue to coast and things be easy? You got to make that decision, and it really depends on what kind of person that you are. Do you want to take the easy way out and just be complacent for the rest of your life? Or do you want to be the person that can make those tough decisions in the face of, something being difficult or something being hard to do or something that's going to hurt somebody, even though it's the right decision? You have to decide, what kind of person are you? It's not for me, but that's for you to decide. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I am Pinnacle the Hustler. This is the Hustle Report. I'll see y'all in a couple days. Peace.